it's not mine anymore. You know, I mean, I think that's the case with any art, but it's obviously different with a piece like this, where it's like, it's now the public's, and it's open for any experience to happen with it, whether that's somebody who wants to vandalize it or somebody that wants to experience it in the way in which I hope, which is obviously artistically, creatively kind of chewing on what this thing is doing. This process that I've kind of developed started with large-scale installation. So when I originally thought about casting an inflatable, which is basically what I'm doing, my first instinct was to be able to climb inside it. The process is quite rudimentary, but it took me quite a long time to get here. So I typically use 2mm plastic, but with these smaller ones, I've kind of changed and started using thinner plastics, in which case you kind of get a different wrinkle structure. And I've developed these apertures, these small wooden apertures that I've been cutting on the laser cutter. So what I can do with this is just basically attach these apertures to this base plate, and then I'm able to turn my fan on and kind of start to see the forms. So I have this whole pressurized system for casting all sorts of different pieces. On the exterior here is kind of a spray booth, so this is negative pressure going out the window. That's kind of collecting all my dust. When I'm casting, I'm spraying plaster, so this suit has been the last couple months, so you get this kind of great build-up on that. So I'm adorning that, a full-face respirator, my hat, my ear protection. So I kind of have this whole protection layer when I go in here, because basically I'm atomizing all this plaster. People can't figure it out. You know, I'm like, are you afraid of color? And I mean, the way I see it is I'm either a chromophobe or a true colorist. And I think I'm a true colorist. I mean, I am about the material. I think at some point, like color is certainly gonna come into the mix. A lot of my process has kind of come to use unconventional molds. So kind of paralleling the inflatables, I got really kind of interested in thinking about other membranes. So this is basically boat shrink wrap. So in the winter, when boats come out of the water, they use this thick milled plastic that shrinks about half its size to wrap around the boats, and then it gets torched with this big torch and shrinks and creates this kind of tight membrane around the boat. And I got the equipment, the torch, and I started getting the plastics and experimenting with it. And I come from a background of ceramics. I think that craft mentality is deep in my roots, and taking a material and working with it and eventually coming up with, your ideas kind of come out of this relationship. I mean, I call myself a material collaborator and process inventor at this point. My big thing was skateboarding and BMX, which I think that's where the scale and the physicality came. Like, this work is completely rooted in that space as much as it is in ceramics. My first building experience was building in this old 1888 hay barn, and we built all these ramps for riding bikes. So that was my first introduction to tools and scale. I mean, that was where big came from. I'm building a thing that's bigger than me to shoot myself in the air. I just feel lucky to have a passion, I found the thing that I love to do. It doesn't really make sense in a lot of ways, but I found it and I love it, and it gives me so much joy.